Hey guys, so I was requested by Miss Katie and Miss Jennifer to do a makeup tutorial on what our color guard makeup is going to look like this year. So as you know, we're going to do a dark brown smoky eye, and when you get to the school at like 4:30 to 4:50, we're going to be doing the dots, as you know. So in this video I'm going to be showing you how to do foundation that will last and have really high coverage. As well as doing a little bit of stage makeup, so a bit brighter and more vibrant than you would wear to school or something, and then I'll be doing the eyes as well. And then afterward I'm going to give you a few tips, so if you feel like you need to fast forward through the foundation, if you've got your routine, go ahead and do that. I'm going to start on that and show you my products as I go through, just so you have an idea of what you may need to get, or out of your stuff what to use. So anything that you don't have or you don't want to get, that's fine. It's completely fine. Just come to one of us, one of the captains. Okay, so anything you don't want to buy or anything that you don't have, that's completely fine. Just come to me, well in advance before call time, and I can get you all set up. I'll probably have something that fits you, and if not, then I can work with what you have and just help you out there. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started. So I just got out of practice like 15 minutes ago. So I'm going to be using these Burt's Bees just sensitive skin cleansing towelettes. They're really, really nice on your skin. So just go ahead and wipe your face down. Okay, so these are really nice if you've been wearing makeup like to school or something and you just need a fresh face to restart, or if you've been sweating a good bit and you want to just get that off. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to be using is this Burt's Bees moisturizer. I think that it's really important to use moisturizer. It makes your foundation glide on, makes everything a lot easier, and plus it'll keep your skin from drying or crackling with all this foundation you're going to be putting on. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm just going to put a little dab on my finger and just swirl it all over my face. Okay, I'm going to put a little more on my dry areas. My skin has patches of dry spots, and then they also have patches of oily spots, so I'm just going to go over with this moisturizer in my dry areas. Okay, so that's done. That's really important, especially this one has sunscreen in it, SPF 7, just use something like that. Especially if it's sunny, the first few games it's going to be pretty hot and it'll keep your foundation on. So with the color guard, you're going to be using stuff like foundation, especially that's darker than you really are if you're pale like me. So here's a color that I would normally use, and I'm a complete Maybelline person, so I use a lot of Maybelline. Here's the color that I would usually use, and here's my color for color guard. It doesn't really look that different, but it's pretty. This one is 5 shades darker. So this is called Dream Matte Mousse. Leslie actually introduced this to me. It's really high coverage. I definitely recommend something like this. This foundation, it's super thick, super concentrated. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a brush that has pretty thickly sorted bristles. It's really good for blending. I'm just going to take a good bit of this on here and then swirl it all over my face. Okay, so you may think looks absolutely ridiculous. I'm pretty much bright orange and it's really freaky. But for one thing, you really want your face to show up on the field, so if you're pale like me, definitely recommend using something darker. Plus, this is only a base for your foundation. I do recommend you using something like this as a base, but if you are not a person that sweats a lot, I definitely sweat a lot, you may not have to do this step, so it's optional. What I'm going to do next, this is how pale I am, I mean really. It's Revlon Photo Ready Airbrush. This is the lightest shade that the place I go to has, and that's why I have it. It's really embarrassing. But I'm going to put a squirt of this onto my hand, and because I want to be darker and I want kind of like a fresh face, I'm going to use this Maybelline BB cream. The Skin, it is in, I'm trying to find what shade. I don't know, I can't. It just says medium, so I guess whatever you feel like you need to use. And I'm going to just put those on top of each other. With the back of my brush, I'm just going to swirl it. Mix it up real well. You could blend it onto your face, but I just prefer to blend it on my hand first. Okay, so I'm just going to get a good dab of that. And just go all over my face just like I did with the matte mousse stuff. Okay, so I'm done with that. As you could see, I blended it down to my neck, to my jawline, so I wouldn't have a really awkward line right here. And after I go over it with the brush to get a natural finish, I just rub my fingers all over my skin. Your fingers are your best tool to use when putting on makeup. I've always heard that. So just keep that in mind when you're going through this. So now I'm going to conceal under my eyes. I have dark circles under my eyes from school, so, and you may, you know, everyone has something to cover up. So I'm just going to use the really light foundation. This will come in handy when I do contouring and highlighting in a little while. So I'm just going to do that really quickly. Okay, now I finished that. Always when you put on foundation, you really want to set it in, and I do that with a face powder. I'm going to be using Ulta. I love Ulta a lot, and fair to light. Usually I would use light or fair. So, I'm going to take a fairly, this is a Sephora brush by the way, a fairly high, what's the word, high coverage brush, and I'm just going to swirl it around and then make sure I get everywhere I put foundation, which is everywhere on your face. Okay, that took some of the shine away, which will really come in handy when you're on the field. You don't want to be shiny, sweaty. So that set in all of your foundation. Also, what you want to do after you put all the powder on your face, you're going to want to go back with your brush and just dab all over your skin to really make sure the powder is set. Okay, I have a humongo zit on my chin, and so I'm just going to take my matte mousse because it's the strongest thing I have right now, and I'm just going to dab over it a little bit, so just so you can't see the color. Okay. Next you are going to want to do some contouring and highlighting. So I'm definitely going to teach you how to do that. If you are a first-time contour highlighter, I would definitely use some bronzer as if you are a first-time bronzer, if you are a first-time contour highlighter, I definitely recommend that you use something just a little bit darker than your foundation to contour. I'm going to show you where you need to contour, and I'm going to show you the products that I use when I contour. So, I use this Revlon palette. Let's see. It's in hazelnut, this color. You can tell it's a bit darker than my skin, and it's a little less orange, and so it doesn't exactly match my face, but that's completely fine. I have contouring palettes for everyone of every color, dead serious. So come to me if you are kind of afraid to do this part. It's pretty scary. So just be super careful when you do it, and everything is correctable with makeup, so just keep that in mind. So I got a good bit of this on my brush that I used earlier for my powder, and you have a magic line that goes down from your eye, so you're just going to take this. Okay, so as you can see, I went all the way down here to my jaw, and I went up and just about to right here. It will make your jaw stand out and it'll make it look a lot more prominent, so I'm going to do that on the other side. Okay, so you're going to contour in a few other places. You're going to do down here, it'll make your jawline right here pop. So do that, and then the sides of your nose. This also makes your nose look skinnier as well, and then the bottom of your nose. And also take it from like probably halfway from your eyebrow down to your temples on either side. And it's okay if it's a bit splotchy, like mine is a bit splotchy right there, because you're about to highlight and then blend it all together. So just put those products right there on your face. So the next thing I'm going to do is highlight. And you could either use foundation that's lighter than the foundation you have on, or you could use what they call an illuminator. You could use concealer, anything you can find that's lighter than your foundation. So what I'm going to use, this is a lot lighter. This is L'Oreal True Match, like the lightest shade you can find. I'm going to do that, and I'm going to take off the lid. I'm going to get a little bit on my finger right here and just pat right here. Make little dots. And what you're going to do with this is you're going to swirl it probably about to where your nose is, and you're going to make a diagonal line just straight up like that and cover all of this in the lighter shade. You're going to highlight all of this. Make sure you get up under your eyes really well. And this is where concealing your eyes with the lighter foundation came in earlier, because you can, it'll stay on and it'll be lighter already. So I'm going to do the same thing to this side. And go down to my nose, make a diagonal line up, blend this all in. Okay, so other places you're going to do, just do a little tiny bit on your chin, right above the highest point on your lips, right down the middle of your nose. And then I just do a few dots across my forehead like this and blend it upward and a little outward. Okay, so my face looks a bit extreme right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take a normal brush and just do little circles all over to really blend those colors, make it look a lot more natural, but you'll still have that glow, which is really what you're looking for. Okay, so this is basically your foundation. I'm going to add a good bit of blush. I actually have this costume blush that I use just for guard. No idea where it's from, no idea what color it's in, but it looks like bright fuchsia, if you can see that. So this is the color I'm going to be using. It's pretty hardcore, so I'm just going to get a little teeny tiny bit of it. And what brush I'm going to use is this one. It's really... the bristles are far away, so that means that it's not very, I don't know, it'll be really low coverage. So I'm just going to get a good bit of that on my brush and circle. I don't do on the apples of my cheeks right here, I just do on the very outside with this one, and then I'm going to go back with a different blush and touch it up a good bit. Okay, so I'm going to go with my Ulta blush in Sweet Cheeks, and I'm just going to get a good bit of this and really do up the blush. Okay, so when you're putting on blush, you can really easily look like you're overdoing it. If you think you're overdoing it, double the amount you have on your face, because you're really going to want a good bit of blush to show up on the field. I just did a little bit on my nose right here, a little bit on my forehead, and a little bit on my chin just to give me a little bit of color. Okay, so now I am going to shut off that. This is basically your foundation. If you feel like you need to put another powder on your face to keep your foundation still, you can do that. Otherwise, we're going to move on to the eyes. So, with smoky eyes, this is a pretty challenging eyeshadow step to do, but I have confidence in all of you, and I'm going to try to make it as easy as I possibly can. So if you have dark eyelids, as I do, take your foundation, just get a little teeny tiny bit of it, and rub it on your eyelids. Okay. So after that, what you're going to do, I'm going to get a little bit closer here. Closer. Okay, so now what you are going to be doing is you need to find the right shades for you, what's going to show up best on your face. I don't have to get eyeshadow that's very dark because my eyelids, for one, are already dark, and I'm just a pale person, so I can do very light colors and it'll still show up really well. So, but before I do that, something that I think is pretty important, especially for this piece, is eyebrows. I'm going to try to be really quick and persistent with this, but I think bold eyebrows would look really well with our look that we're trying to go for. If you don't have eyebrow pencils, come see me. I have them in all shapes and varieties, and we can get something worked out for you. So just watch what I do and try to mimic it. I'm going to take a lighter color first and then go back over it with a darker color. And my eyebrows are going to look pretty scary at first, but once I get full makeup, they'll look great. Okay, so as you can tell, my eyebrows are a lot darker. This will also help with expressions on the field with looking alive, just like the darker makeup, like the more tan and the blush. So after I do that, I'm going to get a very, very light eyeshadow, and I'm just going to be using a palette that looks like this, and I'm going to be using that very top color. It's basically white. And what you need to do is you need to go in the corners of your eyes and right up under your eyebrow right there on that bone, okay? So just watch what I do. And really load it on there, okay? You're going to be blending it later, so just don't worry about completely caking the makeup on your face. Okay, so after I do that, this step will really help you look bright and alive, which is basically the goal if you haven't been able to tell a recurring theme. Okay, so I use this palette a lot. As you can see, I'm going to be using this one right here. It's a bit shimmery, and it's a little bit darker than my eyelids. This is what I'm going to cover like my whole eyelid with, except for the parts I did white on. Okay, so this looks absolutely ridiculous right now, but that's fine. So now that you have those two colors on, what I do is I take a pretty loose brush, this one's just rounded, real small, you know, and just go over and blend from the inside out. Alright, now I'm going to take an even darker color, and this one is a pretty dark color. If I can find it, it's right here. It's Almay, and it's that color right there in the middle. Pretty dark. You can't really tell right now, but it is pretty dark. I'm just going to get a good bit of that on my brush and go on the outer corners first. This will make your eyes look farther apart, and it'll also make them pop. Okay, so after I do that, I'm going to take a little bit down here and just do a very thin, blunt line with it down here, and this will be part of the smokiness. And then I'm going to get a little more and just go where my eyelashes are. So almost like eyeliner, but a much bigger, broader line, and this will be part of the smokiness. Okay, again, I'm going to take the small brush and blend it outward. Okay, so, and I'm going to go back over with the white. This is one of my favorite parts. Just go right up here and right in the corner. Okay, and you can just take your finger and blend. Okay, and here is the eyeshadow portion. What really brings your whole eye together is definitely your eyeliner. I don't usually wear eyeliner to school.